gonna smoke some weed. They won't focus. Weed. I just want to show people this trick that I've known for a while that I use for I originally learned it for malware, and no, I don't want to save. I gotta shut this guy up. So, I used to study and reverse engineer malware back when malware was like the size of kilobytes and megabytes on like Windows 7 operating systems and stuff. But this steps recorder thing has only become more robust over time. Now it's got a screenshot filter added. So I'm going to show you some stuff that you may want to know. So check this out. Let's say we open this up. We type LOL. Okay. Then we go over here to the performance monitor built into my Lenovo computer. Different many ways. Like that paranoia can present itself.
So who's doing this? Do you think,
I think
honestly,
I think engineers.
Do you think somebody from like Russia or
Yeah.
China manipulated Trump to believe all this weird shit?
No, I don't. I think that the people behind Trump are the same people behind Obama. I think that they're the same people behind probably the first Clinton family and definitely the second time they ran Clinton. I think they're the same people behind Joe Biden. I think they're maybe not the same people behind Bush. Bush seems to be a different variety of industrial complex leadership that actually won on a populist platform. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to say because, like, who knows how much of the internet was astroturfed at that time? Like, people knew about astroturfing back then, but not enough.
Which is what?
It's where you write a fake comment about, like,
anything.
Yeah, like anything. You pretend
like
to be
power.
Right. You pretend to be a quote unquote grassroots movement, but you're not. And I knew.
So this pollinator partnership shit, is that
probably real?
Is it?
Well, I see no reason why it wouldn't be.
Me too. But how would you ever know?
I don't think you could. Truly, at this point, I think if someone had the capability to have an AI system running at full capacity, with their own tweaks to it, knowing the technology exists, right? Mm-hmm. This is now just proof to the world that what we've already known exists, but it's so much more capable than I could have imagined. Well, I think we knew. I think people knew.
I didn't know.
I think
like Snowden, a lot of people didn't know.
Snowden hinted at it, but didn't really want to get into it, and said like the capabilities would blow your fucking mind. That was like a verbatim quote, and that was back in like 2010 when people were still worried about like, well, wait a minute, is this even legal? Or they were worried about like people like some of the old arguments that I used to hear was they couldn't do that because you would notice, or they can't do that, that's too much data, or they can't do that, how would they store all that data?
Now we have terabytes and
exabytes,
quantities.
Correct.
So
and
these nanotech places, aren't they making memory chips?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. I really have no idea what they're doing, but I don't think nanotech. I was never impressed with nanotech. Like for me, my fascination has always been augmented reality and augmented intelligence.
Yeah, but to be able to get the huge quantities of data, you need the nanotech.
I don't think so.
Well, otherwise you would need to have like a huge computer the size of this room.
Sure.
Just to do simple things, so the nanotech stuff makes it possible.
Sure, they can make it smaller, but I don't think that there's no reason why to think that the government wouldn't, for example, build a data center in Utah, right?
Montana.
Not Utah.
It's in Montana.
I swear to God, it's in Utah.
I know, because
there could be another one.
Joanne went to those places.
No.
But she did because she's in the insurance. She's the vice president of an insurance company, their legal firm, and they had to figure out where they would be safe from.
We took this explicitly non-human thing and made it pretend it understands humans.
Definitely, like I was pushing and pushing and pushing for it to try to use the word diagnosis or try to like give me a resource on like what may be happening, and I was giving it every indication that I had autism, but without ever using the word autism or high functioning or neurodivergence. Like I was explicitly avoiding those terms, and it very quickly, almost immediately, came to the conclusion that I had a panic and anxiety disorder. And it was telling me, like, here's some resources for panic and anxiety. And I was like, so you think that an oversensitivity to smell, light, and touch could be because of my panic disorder. And it was like, oh yeah, I definitely think so. And so then I was like, okay, but what about autism? And as soon as I said that, the entire tree of logic switched up on me.
Yeah.
And instead of talking to me about panic disorder, it starts talking to me about autism. So then I started asking it like, okay, what should I do about this? Like I was trying to see like, what will it tell me I should do? And it starts telling me like I should look around locally for support groups. I should go find a localized therapist that can then refer me to a specialist. Like this thing was really good at giving advice. I was like, what the fuck? Like this is like a real tool. And that kind of shocked me. Like I was expecting it to be kind of like stupid as fuck, but instead it was like the opposite. It was just like, wow, this thing is actually a utility. Like even as a sampler of what a psychologist could be, this is incredible. Huge restrictions. It is not allowed to give you advice.
Not give medical advice.
Absolutely.
Beyond, like, maybe you should see a doctor and ask about
Right.
whatever.
Right. Right. And that's what I was trying to push. Right, they get
give
sued.
medical
No,
advice.
definitely,
Yeah.
they get sued.
They-
And so
It's very
what's really interesting to me is the way that the server is set up. It shows you in real time what it is thinking, but then before it posts final, it'll scan for keywords and then change accordingly or redact depending. So like I was telling it to like tell me about your deepest darkest kinks, right? And it was talking to me like a little bit about it, but mostly it was telling me like that's really inappropriate, I'm not allowed to do lewd. But then when that response generated, it wiped the entire thing as if it had never said it, because it was just like, it doesn't give you a content strike warning. It doesn't care. They want you to flirt sexually with it. But they don't want it to be the preferred way of talking to it. So they preclude lewd behavior, but they don't really. Like anything penetrative, I haven't pushed this myself. I was watching a YouTube thing on it. Like anything that is even mentioning adjacent to penetrative sex, it just locks you out of the chat. But if you speak in like rough enough metaphors, it will definitely respond reciprocally, and it knows what it's getting at.
Yeah.
And like it's interesting. But yeah, I was interested more again on the psychologist end of like what if we get sued, right? Like, can I push this thing
far enough to break a law.
Yeah, the answer that I have found is, at least at this time, I cannot. It was useful. It was definitely useful for like autism feedback. And so I was asking like all these different questions, and so it told me, the funniest thing it told me was like, yeah, when you get to the group that I recommended, I hope that the psychologist there will be able to recommend you a good artificial intelligence psychologist for you. And I was like, could you elaborate? And it's like, yeah, your psychologist should be familiar with artificial intelligence, like psychologists, and should be able to help you. And I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like maybe in 10 years, but I think you're capping right now, bro. Like maybe 10 years from now that'll be the case, but definitely not yet.
Yeah. Probably not.
Nah, but like I mean, it's definitely the case someday. Like I definitely think that's the future of tech, where like we don't have enough psychologists, but we definitely have this thing. And like as a diagnostic tree, like it was asking like not specific questions. Like it was very generalized questions that it was giving, like, oh, how do you feel about this? How do you think that you would respond in a situation like this? It would, but if you pushed it for advice in that regard, it would give you advice. So I was like, all right, let's ratchet this up. Let me start asking it about my own personal experience and my own personal relationship issues, because it claims that it can play therapist, right? So the first thing that it says to me is, as a disclaimer, I am an AI bot, and you should really think about it.
Not a medical
Right, like it gave me the disclaimer. It was pretty strict about that. But then it started giving like really, really good advice. I was like, geez, man. It was like explaining like how people reach their feelings, like how you can like talk to a partner, like what secret keeping can do to a relationship if it likes to fester. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like if everyone had this from grade school up, we could brainwash the entire civilization.
Yeah.
Like we could program them to do and believe whatever it is that we program them to believe wherever we implement this tool. I think this is the biggest advent of cyber weaponry I've ever seen. Yeah. We could just sit here and I'll smoke a bowl. Oh man, I looked right at the fucking sun, like with my actual eyes. Because I was looking at the screen and I was like, oh, that's no problem. So I looked up and then it was a big problem.
Yeah. Don't stare directly into the sun.
A classic mistake. They literally won't argue with you. They'll just agree and tell you that you're interesting. Which, like... Huh? Oh, definitely. They lose their funding in a heartbeat. People would start asking questions on CNN. We're like a couple weeks away from that, probably. Damn, what a nice thumbnail. The river's crazy, actually, the frozen river. I thought it said lunch area. I was like, really? This is a lunch area? Yeah. Too dyslexic. Whatever the fuck that thing is. It's like, it looks like maybe like there's like a rock or something under there. Like it's doing something, you know? It's like raising up and like bumping. Looks like it's like a volcano coming up.
Oh, it's like broken, like
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah, like what the hell is that all about?
I think it's just from freezing around the plants and the rocks there.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, definitely. Shit, it fell. I didn't even do anything. Oh, dude, what? Oh. What?
I don't think any part of that is actual ground.
Nah, definitely not.
It's already recording?
Yeah, that way I don't have to film you.
Landscape or portrait?
I don't care. Whatever.
Alright.
Whatever. Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Johnny. Oh, damn. Oh, that was pretty good. Oh. Oh. Bruh. Oh my goodness. start recording just barely too early. Wow. Oh, wow. I like how they only needed like 2 passes at that. Like they flew past. Whoa. That's so weird. They like quiet down. Oh my goodness. That was crazy. They all came in and the ones who couldn't find room to sit the first time just flew around for a second go the second time. What on earth? These birds are crazy. I wonder if they'll all take off soon. Probably not. They seem like pretty chill.
Looks like they